Oh my God, sound the alarms. The end of the world is near. So, I wake up this morning to find out the liberal heads are exploding. Why? Because Michael Moore sent out put a post on Facebook warning of another Trump win. Take a look at this post real quick. Eerily similar to the prediction that he made 4 years ago around this time, at a time when nobody was predicting a Trump win. All of the polls, all of the media showed a massive Hillary win. Easy. Not exactly a landslide, but the gap was so large, especially among the battleground states, it was no contest. Even on the day of election, Hillary was projected to have a 91% chance of success until the numbers started coming in and the votes started pouring in. Michael Moore was probably the only voice to predict a potential Trump win. He noticed something that no one else noticed. And came out with a really insightful video. I'll put the link to that in the description box below. Well, once again, he's predicting another win. Why? The Democrats are making the same tired, old mistake that they did before. They haven't learned from their lesson. They are depending on Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, to be so great that it'll easily shoo them into victory without having to put forth an actual decent candidate who can finish a coherent thought and or sentence from beginning to end, knows where he's at from time to time, from presenting an actual good candidate with good policies. I don't even think I know a single policy that the Democratic Committee is putting out there other than national mass mandates and Trump is bad. Those seem to be the only policy points that they seem to have made, even with the Democratic National Convention just being almost 2 weeks ago. No new policy, really. No new strategy. And guess what? They're not campaigning hard enough in the battleground states. And they think that they can just ignore the progressives once again, screw Bernie over. And yes, they got Bernie whipped and he's kowtowing to the team, campaigning hard and saying nothing about any of the policy positions that his followers really care about, not addressing any of the issues such as Medicare for all or student loan forgiveness. They're not addressing any of those progressive needs at all. They just expect them to fall in line with the candidates they chose for you. Fix this right here. I mean, come on, Joe Biden, the author of the crime bill that has resulted in mass incarcerations of minority Americans, those who identify as Black. We're in a movement, there's a big movement within the liberal party or liberal wing called Black Lives Matter and Antifa that is so against police right now. And you put forth the author, the architect of the crime bill that mandated greater police presence and enforcement, as well as Kamala Harris, who was the chief enforcer, incarcerating so many people under said laws, falsely incarcerating innocent people in many cases, even hiding DNA evidence that would have cleared an individual until forced to release it, who had no qualms about locking up and imprisoning people for marijuana, the same marijuana that she claims to have smoked herself in college in the 80s while listening to Biggie and Tupac. I guess she got herself a DeLorean to go into the future. So you put forth America's top cop and architect of mass incarceration at the top of your ticket. I don't get it. Um, the other thing I think that this represents is a great awakening amongst the country. Millions of people around the world, in fact, are waking up to the lies of the government. Lies regarding COVID-19. Lies about who's really at risk, the true dangers of it. Who are really the at-risk groups? Lying about some of the numbers. Faulty tests that they refuse to admit is faulty, and yet they'll run to those same faulty false positives to say, look, the numbers are increasing. You got to lock down. You got to lock down again. They see who is really behind the lockdowns, keeping people from working, closing businesses, forcing businesses in many cases to close forever. People who don't even know how they're going to catch up on their rent. They know who's keeping them from being able to earn a living. They're seeing that. You know, Governor Whitmore of Michigan, sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name, had the goal to say, if you own more than one home in Michigan, you're not allowed to go to the second home. If you go into a Walmart, I'm going to seal off certain sections like clothing and toys. You're not allowed to shop for what it is you think you need, only what we tell you is essential. If you're a small business, you cannot operate today. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to do something to fix your books, or maybe find another line of work, find another business when this is all over, because you're too small and not considered essential. But these big chains like Walmart, H-E-B, Kroger, whatever it is in your local area, they can remain open, business as usual. They see who's behind it. In Miami, they see who is behind these ridiculous mask mandates, mandating and then ticketing you for not wearing a mask in public several yards away from anybody while walking your dog or running, jogging. It's crazy. They see who's behind it. They're not stupid. So they're starting to wake up to the lies, to the misinformation. And you know what's really the tipping point? The riots. Aside from the Great Awakening that we're seeing in this country, we're looking at the BS behind a lot of these riots. Now, I think the whole country could have gotten together behind George Floyd and that whole incident. Yes, he was drugged out and was resisting arrest. Had he not been out of his mind, and had he complied and just gotten into the police car, he'd still be alive. Yes, we can agree to that. You know, he was saying, I can't breathe before anyone was ever touching him. They're putting him in the back of the police, fighting to put him in the back of the police car. And he said, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. Despite the fact that he was just in the driver's side of his own car when they got to him. So he wasn't claustrophobic when he was trying to drive, and yet he's claustrophobic when he gets into a police car. Now, that did not justify an officer who had several complaints lodged against him, and even a former case over a decade ago that was dismissed by Amy Klobuchar. That did not justify him sitting or kneeling on this man's back, you know, the back of this man's neck for as long as he did. A few seconds just to pin him down and to get him under control. Okay, but for over 8 minutes, we could have all gotten together and said that was wrong, that was murder, and pushed for his arrest and speedy trial. But then the liberals took it too far, or they allowed the BLM group and Antifa to take it to another level with rioting and destroying a property that was not theirs, looting said properties as well if there were merchandise that they thought was valuable. You had people with the original protests, peaceful protests, but you lost them with the rioting and the looting, trying to justify like no amount of looting can make up for all that was taken from our people, or no justice, no peace. rioting is the voice of the voiceless. What did the local business owner have anything to do with George Floyd's death? Why ruin his business? Especially some of these were black-owned businesses. And then when you have cities doing nothing to protect those businesses and or property, telling police to back off. Donald Trump went off for the National Guard and they say, screw you, we don't need your help, only to have people killed the next night or a week later. Mayor Lightfoot. We're seeing chaos and citizens then average citizens force who love their town or love their community or love their country, even if it means driving 20 minutes to a local town that, may not be their hometown, but one that they frequent quite a bit and love and want to protect, in light of government not doing anything. Democratic leadership at that, they can see. They're stepping up to defend what they love. And you have all of these people in the media who are saying, this is peaceful protest. All the while, buildings and cars are burning right behind them, and they have the nerve to say peaceful protest. People can see through that, and they're frustrated. Again, we could have all gotten together and agreed police brutality is wrong, and agreed that there were certain cases that were unjustifiable, just plain wrong, and murder, like George Floyd. But then you get behind so many other people who caused their own situation, like Rayshard Brooks, and then you're destroying communities. And then people also have been getting killed in these zones. And then you have cities like Portland that have just gone out of control and allowing these rioters and these fascist groups to take over entire cities or sections of cities for months. It would have been one thing if it was just, okay, a couple of weeks in June, but we're about to enter into September and Portland's still not under control. And then we're watching, because they're brazen enough to see, okay, the cops aren't doing anything to stop what's going on. Crime, shootings are up as much as 163% in most of these cities. Again, the common denominator, they're all run by Democrats. Democratic mayors, Democratic city councils, Democratic attorney generals, and they're doing nothing to protect their citizens. Nothing. So yes, Democrats have a lot to be worried about. I really love this clip right here from CNN. I can't believe I really heard it from Don Lemon and Fredo, aka Chris Cuomo. Let me play that clip for you.
That what you said was happening in Kenosha is a Rorschach test for the entire country. And I think this is a blind spot for Democrats. I think Democrats are ignoring this problem or hoping that it will go away. And it's not going to go away. And so, unless someone comes up with a solution over the next 73 days, or 70, so however many days.
68 days?
68 days. So it's not gonna, the problem is not gonna be fixed by then, but what they can do, and I think maybe Joe Biden may be afraid to do it. I'm not sure. Maybe he won't. Maybe he is. He's got to address it. He's got to come out and talk about it. He's got to do a speech like Barack Obama did about race. He's got to come out and tell people that he is going to deal with the issue of police reform in this country, and that what's happening now is happening under Donald Trump's watch, and on Donald Trump's watch. And when he is the president, Kamala Harris is the vice president, then they will take care of this problem. But guess what? The rioting has to stop. Chris, as you know and I know, it's showing up in the polling. Mm-hmm. It's showing up in focus groups. It is the only thing right now that is sticking. And the Democrats tonight stuck with that, right? And they also stuck with the theme that you said, the coronavirus. You got coronavirus and you have Kenosha.
There you have it. That's the biggest smoking gun right there. The rioting. People cannot separate the protest from the rioting anymore. It's just gotten crazy, and you supported it, and or you are failing to get your city under control. And you can't blame it on the president, because he's offering to send the National Guard in a lot of these cities, and you are denying the help. You're refusing the help and sending scathing letters. We don't need any help from you. People are waking up. They don't want chaos. They're seeing families killed by these rioting and unruliness. A man attempts to rape a woman in broad daylight on a subway platform in New York, and he thinks he can get away with it. Someone shot in broad daylight in the middle of the street in New York a few months ago while walking his daughter. There's chaos on the streets, and these Democratic leaders aren't doing anything about it. You can't blame Trump for your own ineptitude. So it's going to be really interesting. We are in a very interesting time right now. I'd love to see how it all plays out, but I would not be surprised if it was a Trump landslide. But you can't be complacent. You have to really get your voice out there and get your vote out there as well. Do not get complacent. You have to be more vigilant than ever, because they are about to get extremely desperate. So that's just my thought for today, for now, on this issue regarding Michael Moore's comment. Tell me what you think regarding the political pulse of this country. Do you feel that Michael Moore is once again about to make an accurate prediction of the 2020 election? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section. If you like what you're hearing so far, hit the like button, and also don't forget to hit subscribe so you can get my latest thoughts and or comments and content. And I shall talk to y'all later. Peace.